once again, on behalf of the Wilkes-Barre Area League of Women Voters, I'd like to welcome you to tonight's forum. There are 13 candidates running for the Luzerne County Council position. There'll be 6 openings, and in the primary, you'll be able to elect 6 Democrats or 6 Republicans. However, there are only 4 Republicans running. And then they will go into the general election in November. Let me tell you a little bit about how we're going to conduct tonight's forum. Each of the candidates will either come up here or stand where they are, wherever they're more comfortable, and in a minute's time, tell us a little bit about themselves, just so who we know who each of them are. And then they'll be given a minute to tell us that. And then the second part will be 2 questions. Second part, for a minute and a half, they'll tell us why they think they'll be a good candidate, and what from their experiences and their background will make them good candidates. And then the third part, they will tell us what they think are the issues facing the county council and how they will resolve them. And we're going to do them in random order. And I'd ask everybody to hold their applause until the end, not hold up any signs or anything like that. And we'd also ask the candidates to not use anything from this forum. We're a nonpartisan organization, and ask you not to use anything from this forum in any type of political advertising. So without further ado, we will start with the openings, and we'll start with Ray Gustav, who is running as a Republican. And in a minute's time, please.
Good evening, everyone. I guess it could be good to be first, or maybe not. But anyway, as Chris said, my name is Ray Gustav. I was born and raised in Wilkes-Barre. I currently live in West Wyoming with my wife, Donna. I'm a U.S. Air Force Vietnam veteran. I spent 4 years in the Air Force as an air traffic controller. I graduated from Wilkes College, and I retired from the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission after 37 years of federal service. I have extensive work experience in contracts and budgeting, and over 25 years of involvement in community affairs when we lived in Virginia. For 2 years, I was the borough manager of the West Wyoming Borough, and I was responsible for the day-to-day activities of the borough. And I've got 15 seconds left, but I don't have anything else to say. So I'll stop right there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I see that President Leary is here, so thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. I'm next door judging a speech contest. It's very exciting, and I have to go back there. But we are so happy to have you here at Luzerne County Community College. It's a great opportunity, a great forum to get to meet the candidates and hear their views on issues. And certainly, as a community college, that basically is what we represent, the entire community. So not only am I happy that you're here tonight, but I want to extend my invitation to the League of Women Voters to use our facility at any time that you want to promote the ideas that are so important for our community. Thank you very much, and enjoy your evening.
Thank you, and I would like to thank Tom and all of his staff. They've been very, very helpful, so we appreciate you letting us do this. Thank you. Okay, next we'll ask Mark Rabo. He's also running as a Republican.
Good evening. My name is Mark Rabo. I'm from Hazleton, a lifelong born and raised in the city. I currently live in the city. I graduated from Hazleton Area High School, and after graduating, I served in the Marine Corps until I was injured. Then I went overseas. I went to college in Schiller International University in London, studied in international business and finance, and a minor in international diplomacy. I only attended for a year and a half due to my father's illness, and he eventually passed away. I came back here because I had to take care of him, along with and help my mom pay the bills. And I started a business, construction business, for now about 9 years, and I'm currently serving on the Luzerne County Redevelopment Authority. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear from Stephen J. Urban, who is also a Republican candidate. Yes?
I don't think anyone is using the mic. We're not hearing it very well.
Okay. Okay, if you could talk in, oh, maybe this one's better.
Check. Is this working? Yes. All right. Stephen J. Urban. I'm from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, of course, living in the Heights. I do IT support coordinator work for a major food distributor in the United States. Current member of county council. I attended Penn State University and also LCCC here. I pretty much studied electrical engineering, business management, and then went into CIS. Didn't obtain a degree, but I have many credits. Bring a wealth of experience on council as a current member. One has to know county government, and it's something that I think is very important that you sort of know what's going on in the county in order to facilitate the best decisions that we can make. In order to kind of see what goes on, you have to be on the inside because most things are just posted on the web or actually given to us internally. Thank you for having me here.
Next, we'll hear from Stephen A. Urban, who is running as a Democrat.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stephen A. Urban. Stephen's my son. He's been active in politics for quite a while himself. I was born and raised in Wilkes-Barre, went to St. Boniface for 8 years, then Myers High School. Week after high school, I joined the Army as a private. 2 years later, I found myself in Vietnam for a year. Ended up leaving the Army as a Staff Sergeant E6, finished my degree at King's College, where I received the degree in criminal justice. Went back in the Army as a second lieutenant. Graduated from the University of Scranton ROTC program. From there, I served 4 tours in Korea, a tour over in China, and also a tour in Iraq during the Gulf War. I retired from the Army as a lieutenant colonel. My last assignment was in the Foreign Intelligence Directorate in the Pentagon. I've been a county commissioner now for 12 years and on county council now. This is my 4th year. And right now, I currently work. I work with working people. I work at Amazon.com with about 3,000 people up in the Hazelton Township area. And so I know what it's like, and I understand the plight of the working people in our county. And I want to ask you for your vote on Election Day. Thank you.
Very much. Next, we'll hear from Tim McGinley, who's also running as a Democrat.
Good evening. My name is Tim McGinley. I'm here this evening, and I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for having us here this evening, so we have an opportunity to speak and people have an opportunity to hear from the different candidates. As far as my background, I currently am a member of Luzerne County Council, so we're into our 4th year as a council this year. As far as my education background, I'm a graduate of Kingston High School, and I went to Wilkes College where I graduated with a degree in chemistry. And I've continued on at the University of Scranton, where I graduated with a master's degree. I've also done graduate work at Lehigh University, Temple University, and Penn State. I've worked in the public schools as a teacher and administrator, and then I worked at the Commission on Economic Opportunities as Director of Administration there. And there I worked with budgets and contracts and government agencies. I really got a good background of how government works and some of the different procedures that were necessary. During my time on council now, we've had an opportunity to do a lot of work with budgets and finances, personnel, and they've all been very rewarding and very inspiring. So we hope to be able to continue that. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from John Godomsky, who's also running as a Democrat.
Good evening, everyone. I'm John Godomsky. I live in the borough of Wyoming. I've been a resident of Luzerne County all my life. I'm married with over 37 years. My wife, Karen, formerly Karen Solomon of Wilkes-Barre. We have 3 children, 3 daughters, in fact, and we only had 1 bathroom for 37 years. So you know I'm dedicated. I've been blessed also with 5 grandsons. As for me, I've been a union carpenter, professional carpenter for over 42 years, and I started as an apprentice, worked my way up as a carpenter, journeyman. I was a foreman, superintendent on jobs. I made a lot of decisions on whether or not a job can come in on time and under budget, and many things of that nature. Also, presently, I'm the council representative of the Keystone Mountain Lakes Regional Council. So I still deal with carpenters as far as the members is concerned, companies, and other aspects of the trade. Thank you very much for inviting me here.
Next, we'll hear from Anthony Rostock, who is also running as a Democrat.
Thank you very much. I have to watch the lady with the cards because she pops them up too quick. My name is Anthony J. Rostock. I've been a long life resident of Yatesville, which is down in the Pittston area. I have a associate's degree from Keystone in business administration. I have a BS degree in social studies from Mansfield, and I received my reading specialist in the master's program up at the University of Scranton. I live with my wife Teresa and my son Ralph. I'm married to my wife over 33 years. I've been a public server for over 25 years. At that time, I've had the pleasure of working with budgets of over $40 million for 16 years. I've worked with union people and negotiated contracts. I think I had the experience that you need to be on Luzerne County Council. And I want to publicly thank the Women's League for inviting me here. Thank you very much. 15 seconds, not bad.
Next, we'll hear from Robert Schnee, who's also running as a Democrat. Got a lot of those Democrats tonight.
I'm Bobby Schnee. I'm from Sugarloaf, Pennsylvania. I'm a graduate of Hazelton High School. I've been involved in numerous youth leagues, Hazelton Little League, Hazel Township Little League, PAL basketball, Ernie Valent midget football. I was a high school assistant football coach under Richie Matz for 8 years at Hazelton High. Currently work at the Hazelton City Water Authority the last 26 years. Was on the Hazelton Area School Board for 6 years, dealt with budgets over $100 million, also dealt with union people, and I am a current steel worker, and I'm actually president of 8567 for the steel workers. So that's my background. I'm married to my wife of 23 years. It was love at first sight for me. For her, it took a couple of years to get used to. Thank you very much for having me here tonight.
Next, we'll hear from Jane Walsh-Waitkus, who is also running as a Democrat.
Hello, everyone. As Chris introduced me, my name is Jane, and I live in Mountaintop. I grew up in, actually, Plains Township. I am basically a local person. I lived in the District of Columbia for 7 years, where I began my teaching career. I have a degree, undergraduate degree, bachelor's from Misericordia, and I have 2 master's degrees, one from the University of the District of Columbia and the other from Scranton University. I'm a former small business owner, and I know what it's like to meet a payroll. I know what it's like to handle budgets. That provided fabulous experience for me. I also used to be, when I lived in Laughlin Borough, I was president of Laughlin Borough Council. And that's what I learned about taxpayers. That's when I learned about listening to the needs of taxpayers. It was a wonderful opportunity for me to provide public service. I was president of Borough Council during a massive sewer project, and I survived, and so did the borough. Thank you. My time is up.
Finally, we'll hear from John Pekarowski, who is also running as a Democrat.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming this evening. My name is John Pekarowski. I was born and raised in the borough of Edwardsville. I currently reside in the borough of Larksville with my wife, Joan, my sons, John and Justin. I graduated from Wyoming Valley West High School. I attended Luzerne County Community College, East Stroudsburg University. I've spent most of my professional career in the insurance industry, approximately 30 years now, the last 22 with Progressive Insurance as a claims supervisor. I've been very involved in the community over the years. I've served on Larksville Borough Council for 16 years. Currently, I am the council vice chair. I am also a part of the Luzerne County Democratic Party. I'm the 4th District Chairman. I've also been, in particular, involved with the youth in our community. I coached and served on the board for the Ed Lark Little League. I was involved in Larksville Junior Football, Larksville Junior Basketball. I then moved on and coached at a couple of the Catholic high schools, coached football at Bishop O'Reilly, Bishop Hovind, and I'm currently a PIAA football official and serve on our executive board for our local chapter. And again, I'd like to thank you for having me here this evening. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll turn to the second part of our program this evening, and this we're going to ask each of the candidates to tell us what experience they have and that will make them a good county council person. And this time we'll start with the Democrats. And we have a random order here, so let me see who we have here. Mr. Tim McGinley, please.
I guess it's good to be first, but obviously in my situation I bring the 3.5 years of experience that we have as county council members at this point. I also have many experiences as far as my background in education and serving on different boards. One of the key elements, I think, of the council to be successful is to be able to work with the council members to bring about productive effects to the county. One of the things I pride myself on and really try to include is to be respectful and professional to each and every individual. It's important that you hear what they have to say. Communication skills are very important, and probably one of the most important communication skills is to listen. Many times we communicate, but we don't always listen to the other side of the opinion, and I think that's very critical at this point. I would like to continue to work together so that we reach consensus on the council, so we can be more positive influence on the council and have more productive results that affect the positive council and the community. You know, it's been a struggle. I think we had a lot to learn. It was a new form of government. There were a lot of issues that came up during that course of time. We've navigated through many of those issues, but we still have some to work our ways through. And I would like to continue that work so that we can have some positive results for the council and for the county of Luzerne and its residents. Thank you.
Thanks. Now I'll ask Jane Walsh-Wycus to tell us what her experience is that will make her a good council person.
Well, I did mention the small business that I needed to manage, and I ran a small business. It was actually a real estate business for 10 years, where I conducted appraisals, negotiated contracts, managed a staff, and more importantly, balanced the books. In other words, managed the finances. When I worked in, or rather when I was elected to Laughlin Borough, I found myself pretty much in the same circumstance, managing employees, trying to figure out how to balance our budget without raising taxes. That was a huge issue, and I think it continues to be a big issue. So I have that experience. Currently, I'm a member of the English department at Penn State Hazleton, but I'm also an administrator. I manage the department, and that means managing people. And more importantly, that means managing a budget. We're all under the gun now, even colleges and universities, so I have to really watch what we spend money on, and that presents a challenge, but we're meeting the challenge. And also, I'm immediate past president of the Faculty Senate at Penn State Hazleton, where I got to deal with many different personalities. And it was a unique pleasure, which I will use in the position that I'm aspiring to. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from John Pekarowski.
Thanks again. I think my combination of my professional career and my involvement with Larksville Borough would assist me greatly in helping serve the residents of Luzerne County as a county councilman. As a member of Larksville Borough Council, we're faced with the same issues that the county council is, but on a much smaller basis, obviously. We have a budget we need to put together and meet year in and year out. I'm happy to say that we've always been able to meet our expenses. We've never had to take a tax anticipation loan, and at least the last 2 to 3 years, we haven't had to raise taxes. We've been able to keep everything in line and also continue the services that we would normally provide. You know, I have the ability and the background in negotiating contracts. We have, you know, a full-time police force, full-time fire, full-time public works, and I've been the point person on most of the contracts that have been negotiated over my 16 years. I'd also like to cite my professional background. You know, in being in the insurance industry, I've been in management for over 16 years with Progressive Insurance, and I've had to go out and recruit, train, and develop some key personnel over the years, and also had to be within budget as far as salary went. So it's tough to attract great talent and retain them to do a great job for the people that you serve. And that's something I feel I have experience in. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Anthony Rostock, please.
Thank you. I think for anybody to realize what good government is, people must have experience. I think I do have the experience. I sat on the Pittston Area School Board for 16 years, and I'm presently a councilman in Yatesville Borough for the last 5 years, and previous to that, for 3 years previous to that. I've worked with budgets, like I said before, of over $40 million. I've sat down with unions and negotiated contracts. I think I have what it takes to be proper, to do the job as Luzerne County Council. I think a lot of things have to be straightened out. First thing I like to see is the gridlock between the council members themselves stop. They must work together more often to come up with the right solutions. I think this is not about an election about any of us up here. It's about the people of Luzerne County. I think that's the most important part. We have to try to keep taxation down. I can't guarantee that. I'm not going to sit up here and say taxation will never exist. But I think there's a lot of things that can be changed. And the next issue that we'll discuss is what I'd like to have changed, and I hope I have the opportunity to bring that up. I've also had a small business for over 30 years. I was involved in the landscaping business. And I knew what pinching pennies was. And I think I can do the same thing there. I think we have to improve services over in Luzerne County. I think, remember this, taxes have gone up, but services have gone down. That has to change. I think I could do the job, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Next, we'll hear from Robert Schnee, please.
I grew up in very humble backgrounds. My mother worked in the garment industry. My father worked at General Foam. My mother passed away when she was 60. My father got a letter when he was 62, when she was going to be 62, that he was entitled to half her pension. For after 30-some years, her pension was like $17. So the foundation that was built for me, that especially in Luzerne County, where the minimum wage is very poor, for the income of people here, I could relate to people that struggle each week to make payments on their bills. And I'll keep that in mind. And after what went on in the courthouse, I agree with Tony. It's not who's a Democrat, who's a Republican. It's for what's right for the people, finally, for a change. And that's what I'll bring. And I have a strong motor, and I'm ready to start working right now. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from John Gadomski.
Qualifications, right? Well, I have years of experience dealing with people, management, and one thing I pride myself is when I was president of the local union for many years, our members have a lot of problems. Trying to make ends meet when work is slow, needing new skills, and we had training centers to train them. And always there to support them, just like I want to support Luzerne County. What we need is unity in the council. We need everyone working for a common cause for the benefit of everyone. Be inclusive is very important. And that's what I have to bring, because I sat on a lot of boards and as a trustee on the health and welfare, our pension funds, our annuities, apprenticeship and training, developing young people coming out of high schools that maybe can't make it to college but have good work ethics and are able to use their hands and build something. That's what I have to bring to this council. I also negotiated many contracts with large companies that pay good wages and benefits, like Sardona Construction and Panzita, local people that worry about our people. And that's what I have to bring to this council. Thank you very much.
Our final Democrat this evening will be Stephen A. Urban, please.
Thank you very much. What I believe I bring to this council is experience. Not only experience as a former commissioner, because I know the workings of county government. One of the pride and joy that I have experienced is serving on the Flood Protection Authority for 13 years. During that time frame, we built the levees. There was no scandal, no crimes committed by anyone in the levee. We did raise a fee, but we also recently repaired the damages that were done to the levees in 2011 with federal funds, with no money from the county. One of the things that I think on council is there is conflict sometimes. One of the things that I was involved in personally, and there's a program on called American Greed, and I'm in that program with Judge Borowski and another individual. I went to the FBI when those judges were locking kids up. I went to the FBI because I wasn't afraid to disclose public corruption. So I think I have a record of honesty in Luzerne County government. I recently voted against giving Moon Lake away. Why? Because we gave Moon Lake away to the state, but yet we kept the $14 million mortgage that we're paying in the form of bond payments on that property out there. We also gave Theta land away that, when Defender Watershed came to me and said, we want to protect our reservoirs and our drinking water. Will you buy the property around it outside the 500-foot buffer? And I said yes, and Commissioner Makowski went along with me, and so did Commissioner Mazzano, and we did that. We gave that away. We still have a $2 million mortgage on that. Some of the decisions that are being made at county council don't make sense to me, and I don't think they make sense to the average public. When everyone who comes to the meeting says, don't give Moon Lake away, and the majority of council, 6-5, votes to give it away, how can there be consensus? I think there's bad decisions that are being made. I think I'm a voice for the people in this county. I'm a voice for reason. And if I see something corrupt, I'm going to call it out. I worked with the Army Criminal Investigation Command for 4 years on the West Coast. I ran their whole West Coast operation, everything west of Mississippi, Alaska, and Hawaii, communications for them. And I know what it's like to serve in law enforcement. And I'm not afraid, if I see something wrong, to report it.
Okay, now we'll hear from the Republicans. First, we'll start with Mark Rabo, please.
Yes, what I bring to the table is I've currently am on the Luzerne County Redevelopment Authority. I work with the authority with regards to infrastructure. I believe that our county infrastructure is decaying and dilapidating, just as in the meetings we heard about the county roads and bridges. And I think that we need to start taking better care of our infrastructure, because that is what promotes us as a county. And you know, we need to encourage that. I think I bring experience through my when I had my construction company since 2006, and I think that doing my due diligence in terms of county regulations and also state regulations, as well as helping the council by attending meetings and offering alternative solutions instead of just going for the quick fix. I think that sometimes a quick fix is not really always the best solution, or, you know, like just as a convenience. We need to take our time to do our due diligence to make sure we make the right decisions. And I think cooperation and competence are what I bring to the table in terms of what I would bring to the county council. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Stephen J. Urban.
As a current county council member, I'm not wearing a suit and tie, of course. I happen to go to work every day. I'm a taxpayer, a resident of Wilkes-Barre. I'm a landlord also, and know what it's like to pay taxes. When I take a vote, I make a conscientious decision to think about all the residents among us and the people that make less than I do. And you know, that's one of the biggest challenges on county council, is to think about the people that are making less than you, the people that are like my grandmother, who was 85, who still runs a corner store. Those are the things that I think about, you know, when we're making a decision up there. Communications at the county is very sore at this point. It's very lacking the way the structure is. We don't negotiate contracts. We just vote them up or down as a council. That's the manager's job, is to negotiate contracts. So I think, you know, having an understanding of the charter is key. That's something that I, as a member of council, bring to the table. We do understand the charter. We try to call out the charter violations, and unfortunately they've been falling on deaf ears too. So overall, you know, being on the council, you see the workings from the inside. You also have to know about the charter. Some people may have this perception that they can go and negotiate contracts or have administration over individuals, and that's not the case. We do not administer anybody except a clerk. That's our only hire. We work with a solicitor, and we have our meetings. They are long, they are lengthy. You have to take a tie off because sometimes they go till midnight. So it is a thankful job, but it is also something, you know, that all 11 of us, you know, put our heart, sweat, blood, and tears into. And I do look for your support. Thank you.
Our final Republican will be Ray Gustav.
Thank you. This part of the program deals with qualifications and why you think you'd be a good fit for the county council. Much of the work of the county council involves adopting an annual budget and the approval of contracts. They're two very important areas, and I have extensive experience in both areas. When I worked for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, I was responsible for the award and administration of nuclear regulatory research contracts, and I was also responsible for the formulation and execution of the research portion of the NRC's budget submission to Congress. I also attended almost all of the Government Study Commission meetings, and I regularly attend county council meetings. I'm familiar with the charter. I've read the charter, and I understand it. Also, I was the borough manager of West Wyoming Borough, and as borough manager, I was responsible for the day-to-day operations. And in addition, before I moved back to the area, I was a member of the Board of Trustees and a vice president of a nonprofit corporation. That gave me a lot of experience with dealing with a number of issues. I was greatly involved in community activities for over 25 years. I formed a civic association before I moved back to the area. I was a charter member of the West Fairfax County Community Association. I served as vice president of that association, and I chaired the Land Use Committee during a period of very, very active development in the area. And I think I bring a wealth of experience to the county, and I think I have the qualifications to be a good county council member. Thank you.
The last section of our program, and I think I'm going to change it and give them 2 minutes for this. This, I think, is probably one of the reasons you people have come out. We want to know what issues are going to be facing you as county council members, what issues are going to be facing our county, and how would you work to solve them. And here we will start with the Republicans, and we'll start with Stephen J. Urban, please. In 2 minutes.
As a current county council member, I feel that one of the biggest issues is the rising debt of the county. The county currently is over $350 million in debt. We're going through a refinancing process right now, which I am against it. I think it's going to prolong the debt of this county, also raise it by another $8 million, stretching it out to 2029 from 2027. We all know that budgets in this area are probably the #1 topics of discussion, no matter where we're at. With the 76 municipalities within the county, we're all cash strapped. We cannot continue to take from the taxpayer because we just don't have it. Both, actually on the municipal level, the school district level, and on the county level. You have to have somebody in there that has some business acumen. I think I bring that to the table. Working in the private sector, you have to find ways to streamline and to make your jobs more efficient. The work that you do each day has to be streamlined, and you have to come up with new processes. I feel at this point we don't have a county manager that is quite really apprised of the entire situation. I think he has a lot of work to do. He's fallen behind. There are a lot of job openings within the county in some key areas like area on aging. I really think, we have some serious issues that we need to look at, and there's just so many, and I think the communications is also very lacking, like I said before, within the county. In order to get any information, we usually have to send an email. It's not where we get a high-level report sent to us on a monthly basis. Yeah, we get a budget report, which is fairly new. We get a monthly report at this point in time, but it really doesn't tell us much and doesn't tell us what the inner workings are what's going on. And I'll leave you with this. We're about $12.5 million in the hole right now as of this year, and that's a pretty steep hole to get out of, and we have to find better ways to manage our money. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Mr. Gustav. What issues do you think we'll be facing, and how would you propose to resolve them? And he is a Republican.
Thank you. As Mr. Urban said, I also believe that the county debt is the #1 issue facing the county. We got, depending on which number you read, around $350 to $400 million in debt. To service that debt requires that approximately 25% of the property taxes collected go to debt service. That has a tremendous impact on the ability of the county to provide services. I believe that the county needs to identify sources of revenue other than property taxes to fund that debt. I would advocate forming a working group comprised of businessmen, citizens, government officials, to identify alternative sources of revenue and to get whatever legislation or authority is needed to go and put that in place. Another issue that I think facing the county is county planning. The county council seems to be, well, let me back up. I believe that the county council needs to be more proactive and less reactive. You need to plan the work than work the plan. I would like to see the county council develop a 5-year plan, a plan that would involve all county offices, departments, authorities, boards, and commissions. I would like it to identify goals, an approach to achieving those goals, and a cost associated with those goals. For example, an element of the plan could be to improve job opportunities in the county, help people find careers here in Luzerne County. Another thing I believe is necessary is the efficiency of county government. I would like to see a top-to-bottom review of all county operations, identify waste, overlap, and ways to improve and reduce costs, identify technological improvements, and make sure that we fully understand what our money is being spent on and that it's necessary. Thank you. And I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for giving us the opportunity to speak to you this evening. Thank you.
Our final Republican will be Mark Rabo.
Yes, I believe that the greatest issue that faces the county is the financial management / the debt. I think the finances of the county have been mismanaged over the years, and it continued into the changeover in the government. I believe that, as everybody knows about the assessments for the homestead and other tax programs that the county collects, I think that it has been mismanaged. I think that what needs to happen is before the council asks the taxpayers to put in more money for pay more tax, they need to figure out, what the process involves as far as actually managing the taxes that they collect right now, because they're mismanaging it. And also in terms of a longer term strategy to bring in newer sources of revenue through economic development. The county has not grown economically in 15 years. So how are you going to pay for the county employees for their, increases for their raises without having anything coming, any new business growth coming in to pay for it? You need to have a strategy that is feasible, that can be implemented over the longer term. You need to have a breakdown like 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years. I also think that the biggest problem as far as economic development, as I said in the outset of my comments, is the decay of our infrastructure. The infrastructure is a key source of that, because when you come into the county, what's the first thing you see? You see the roads, you see the buildings. If they're not maintained, if there's blighted properties all over the county, you have nothing to attract business or new residents to come in, so you can expand the tax base. So I think that's what we need to do. Thank you very much.
Now we'll hear from the Democrats, and again, if you could tell us what issues the county is going to be facing and how would you propose to resolve them. First, we'll hear from Robert Snee, please.
Yes, I think first and foremost, it's the budget. And concerning the budget, excuse me one minute. About the budget, I'd like to form a blue ribbon group of people that in industry of 15 or 20 people, again, to bring new industry here, and not empty shells where you have 5 people that it's a drop-off for cargo and then they're picking it up, where you're only employing 12 people. For instance, I'm going to tell you what happened down in the Hazelton area. In Freeland, Garland Industry employed 300 people for over 40 years, all right? Nobody from up here, senator or a House of Representative, went to these people, how do we make this right? But somebody that's unseen will give a tax break for 10 years and give them millions of dollars for startup money. That's got to change. Also in the budget, there were 2 attacks on senior citizens here. One was the homestead. Of elected, I'll bring that up at the first meeting and fight for that for every older person that lost the homestead. 66% of our people that live in Luzerne County are elderly. They counted on that homestead. The second assault was on the tax collector. That old people without a checkbook go and put the money on the table for these people. And we wanted to do away with them. And that had to come to 2 votes before it was switched back. The first time you were doing away with it. You people have parents here. Imagine them driving up the Wilkes-Barre. I mean, down where I lived, till 20 years ago, a guy went and sold cold meats, bread, and he retired because he was too old. He serviced all those elderly people. And we got to keep them in their homes. We can't keep raising taxes because they're losing homes. People, their kids try to help them out till they can't help them anymore. It's common sense. That's all it comes down to. If I make $400 a week in a budget, no matter what it is, that's all I'm spending. All right? I'm not. Okay. I'm very sorry. Thank you.
We'll have Tim McGinley next, please.
Well, obviously, we have 2 major issues, I believe, in the county. Obviously, we've spoken about it several times. The financial issue is probably the one that pulls us down the most at this point in time. You know, we have an issue where our debt service is somewhere between $27 and $30 million, depending on what happens with this refinancing. With the refinancing, we will move away from a variable rate where we don't know what the rate will be every 4 months. We went from a variable rate of 25 basis points, which is, you know, 0.25%, up to 270 basis points in 2013. That meant you went from $200,000 in interest to $1.7 million. We're now currently at 320%. So you can see that rate is moving up, and that's something we have to get away from and move to a fixed rate where we know exactly what our debt service will be, and we can budget in a much more professional manner. There's a lot of issues with the finances. We have to work on getting our finances straightened out. We have to promote that department, make sure it's supported properly, have the right kind of staffing, they have the right kind of skills so that the county can get on good financial status at this point. The second thing is, I believe, is staffing, human resources. You know, we have a lot of people who work for the county, approximately 1,400 at this point in time. It's a very difficult job. They service our residents every day. We have to have good staff, sound staff, educated, trained, development, We have to provide those to our staff if we want to provide good services. That's something that we must do, and we must spend some time doing that and provide the necessary monies to promote that. You know, government is not a manufacturing process. Government is a service. We provide services to our residents. So we must do that, and we must do it well. We must have the staff that will do that and do it in a manner which is very efficient, friendly, and courteous. The last thing, and this is sort of a plug for the election, please come out and vote. Please come out and vote. Tell your neighbors, family, friends, come out and vote May 19th. You know, vote for the person or persons that you wish, but please come out and vote so that we have a strong voice out there that's indicating to us what they want, what the message should be. And I thank you for this evening.
Next, we'll hear from Stephen A. Urban, please.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sneed mentioned two things about the tax collectors. Stephen J. Urban, myself, and Eileen Sorokas in the audience did not vote to fire the tax collectors. We voted to keep them. The three of us also voted to not take away the homestead exemption. We didn't vote for the budget that Mr. Lawton passed. The real issue is, yeah, we do have a debt. Since Mr. Lawton came here, there is now $12.5 million deficit that has been built up during the 3 years that he's been here. The budget has gone up from $121 million to $130.2 million. Mary Ann Patrol and I brought the budget down during our last 4 years in office from 141 to 121, and we left them with a $3 million reserve. That was spent the first year in office. I think the problem is bigger than the budget and the deficit. The problem is we have a manager that doesn't know how to manage. Mr. Lawton never managed the facility on his own. He worked for a board of supervisors who are both the executive and legislative branches of government in California. I lived in California. I'm familiar with the supervisor system. Mr. Lawton, in my opinion, when I found out that, he came to us painting a rosy picture of the county, saying that we had millions in surplus sitting in funds, and then an audit comes out 14 months later saying that he's 8 in the hole. And now the second audit came out and said the total budget deficit now for his first 2 years is $12.5 million. In my opinion, Mr. Lawton's got to go, and he knows he's got to go. He's already looking for jobs. So you have to be able to stand up and make the tough decision and say it's time for you to leave. But the charter requires 7 votes to terminate the manager. Not 6, but 7. We only had 5. So I hope you'll consider that, that it's not only the council. The council passes the budget that the manager gives them, but yet the manager executes the budget, and the manager's overspent. And there's very little that the council can do to him because we can't interact with him on a day-to-day basis. The charter prohibits us from doing that. So there needs to be some charter changes in 2017. And I want to be a member of county council to make some of those changes. They can be made by the public, going out collecting petitions, or by members of council. I'd like to make some of them. Some of them can't be made now, so I'm not even going to say what they are. I want to ask you for your vote on election day, and I want to thank you for your past support. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Jane Walsh-Wakis, please.
Well, no doubt about it, the county debt is a huge problem, as the other candidates have said. I echo their concern, and I really believe we can't keep going to the taxpayer time after time after time and expect that the taxpayer has an unlimited amount of funds, because they don't. A lot of our population is elderly, and they live on fixed incomes, and there's just not enough money to go around for our seniors. I would also like to explore other sources of possible revenue besides taxes. I would also form a committee of business people and some county council members and try to come up with some other viable alternatives to get some cash flowing into the county for a change, instead of the cash flowing out of the county into the banks to pay off our debt. You know, 100 years ago, people came to this county. People flocked to this county. You know why they came? Jobs. There were jobs here. There are no jobs that can sustain our graduates. Many of our graduates, many of our children are leaving because there are no possible way to gain employment that can sustain a family. I think it's time to change that. I think it's time to get serious about attracting jobs and businesses into the area. And I would do that by forming a partnership with area businesses, with our county representatives, with our local representatives. We've got to get serious and face facts here. And the third idea is it's time for a strategic plan. We need a 5-year plan. We have to identify our strengths and weaknesses. We have to face reality, set goals. Because if all we do is talk, we're going nowhere. We have a bright future, but it's time to face reality. And I'd also like you to vote and vote for the candidates you think will truly represent you, and I would be very grateful for your vote. Thank you.
John Pekarowski, please. Pekarowski, sorry.
Hello again. I agree with just about everyone's sentiments that debt and finance is the #1 issue that faces the county. But I believe before we could attack any issue that important, that we need to change the culture of the county. Now, as I travel around the state as a businessman with my company, you know, I often in the past heard about the hardworking folks of Luzerne County. Now all I hear about is the negativity that surrounds Luzerne County, starting back years ago with the corruption that needs to be forgotten about and we need to move forward. But just with the way we're conducting business currently, it has to change. Negativity has to go away. We have to forge relationships and work together. And not just as county council members, but we need to also reach out and work with our state leaders, our borough leaders, our business leaders, the local chambers. We need to come up with a plan. I agree that we need to attack the debt, but the most important thing is increasing revenue. And the only way we're going to do that is to bring business and finance to our area. And the only way to do that is to go out and attract it. And I agree with a couple of the sentiments stated earlier that, yeah, we do need committees. We need a committee from the county council to work with some of the local leaders in the city of Wilkes-Barre and surrounding boroughs and municipalities, and also our state leaders. And we need to go out and attract business and industry to come here and provide good paying jobs, sustainable jobs, jobs that will enable our children to stay home and enjoy the Luzerne County that we grew up in and loved. Thank you.
John Godomsky, please.
A lot of good issues were covered this evening. And I just want to echo something that Jane said about economic developments and our children leaving the area. 2 of my daughters relocated because of that reason. After college and degrees they received, they got better wages outside this area to raise their families. We had, in 2013, 320,000 people in Luzerne County. This year, in 2014, it went down to 2,000. I know there's influx of people from other areas, but still it's dropping, and the good people are leaving. We had good work ethic in this area, like my dad, who worked in the Knox mine disaster and was fortunate to get out alive in 1959. And from that point on, things got better, but now they're getting worse. Just to move on, a big issue we all should look at also to keep people here is public safety. We got to restore law and order in our communities. We have communities like Hazleton, Wilkes-Barre, Nanticoke, Pittston, and the outlying areas. There's constant drug people coming in, shootings going on. We need to encourage our county officials to have the sheriffs, detectives, probation officers to assist in saturating the areas with the local police and stop this. Be proactive. That's some of the things we need. And I think that'll keep people in an area and not keep moving out of this area because they're afraid. I just want to thank everyone for listened to me tonight. I'm not a polished politician, but I worked hard all my life and I know what people need. Good jobs and safety. Thank you very much.
Next, we'll hear from Anthony Rostock.
Thank you very much. You know, I have to agree with Mr. Pekarowski. First of all, we got to do is get rid of the negativity about Luzerne County. Now, first thing I want to say is, I believe that the county charter is broken. I believe there's too many people on it. 11 people is entirely too many. It should be cut to 7. You take a look at counties like Allegheny County and those areas, they are thriving. They have the same system of home rule, but it's done differently. First of all, I think the debt service is a problem. I think refinancing is a good issue there. There's balloon payments, like Mr. McGinley had said. I think we have to level it off and be able to, some way, find a way to pay for it without putting it on the burdens of people that are and local taxpayers. As far as the Homestead Act is concerned, think about what it did. It took away people that own property, money away from them. You will find out that if they had raised the taxes like 4%, it would have cost them less money than taking away the Homestead Act. I think the situation with the taxpayers was a shame. I think the tax collectors was a shame. I think that's an issue that was tackled and put back in place. I think tax collectors are a very important part of Luzerne County. But how about this? You talk about, we're going to all find alternate ways of raising revenue. Now, one person told me how. They said to me they're going to have these committees, and they're going to solve these committees, they're going to solve these problems. Well, let me ask you something. Somebody tell me, I have ideas, and my idea is simply this. How about a 1% sales tax on edible foods? And you say, what does that mean? That doesn't affect the poor, it doesn't affect the middle class, and it doesn't affect the rich. And what do I mean by that? If you were to go out and buy a $2 cup of coffee, it would cost you 2 cents. Approximately, and this is something that I've discussed with the local politicians, I say the state representatives, could generate over $16 million. And everybody pays. It's a user's tax. I'm not against taxes, don't misunderstand me, but a user's tax is the best tax you can do. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all the candidates for being with us this evening. I'd like to also thank Luzerne County Community College for giving us this space. I'd like to let you know that our voter's guide will be appearing in the Citizen's Voice on the Monday before the election. So if everybody would take a look for that, that gives information about these candidates as well as some others who were unable to be with us this evening. We also want to remind you to get out and vote. Now, would you join me in thanking our candidates? Thank you very much.